Good evening, and welcome to session 5. Welcome to session 5. How is everyone doing? Just type in the chat box. Wow, it's so exciting to be here again with you for session 5, your debt freedom plan. So before we get started, I'd love to just hear how everyone's doing. Just allow yourself to get present here this evening. Yep, how time flies, Mana. Absolutely. So welcome, Deborah, Marcy, Lisa, Tabo, Roxy. Yes, very excited to be here. Delighted that you can see my screen and you can hear me. So yeah, keep warm there, Roxy. Good to have a cozy bed. So Deborah, you've managed to join. You've managed to log in. Fantastic. So tonight is, sure, an extraordinary and exciting conversation about your money, just taking it to the next level. So I hope you've all been going through module 4 and taking action or diarizing to take action on the homework. But I just want to remind you all that at times you might feel you're falling behind. Okay, this does seem to come up, and I want to let you know that it's okay. Okay, what's not okay is to allow yourself to get upset about it or distressed about it, because that's not going to help. That's going to just create even more overwhelm. What you rather want to be doing is reviewing what you need to do, make a list, start prioritizing, schedule it into your diary, and then take the action. And over time, a lot of these things will become habits, and they will simply be things that you do because you know the value of doing them in terms of providing that financial clarity and ultimately peace of mind. Okay, so let's get started. Welcome to session 5, the debt freedom plan. So here is a question before we kick off. Is there anyone here this evening who is not dealing with debt? Or is it accurate to assess that everybody has got some debt? And when I say debt in this instance, I'm not talking about, say, a home loan. I'm talking more about the short-term debt, the debt that costs you, those high interest rates. Ha ha, says Naomi. Is that Naomi B? We need to know which Naomi that is, just to be clear. Welcome, Carla, welcome. Okay, so tonight it's the debt freedom plan, and so we have quite a lot to cover, so I'm going to jump straight in. Excellent, thought so. Thanks, Naomi. I'm going to jump straight in, and along the way there will be times I'll have questions for you, and if you have any questions as we go, what I would like to ask you to do is make a note of them as we're going, and then we'll have time at the end for those questions, because we have quite a lot to cover tonight. All good stuff, all good stuff. But before we get started, we're going to just do a little recap on some of the action steps that you have perhaps been working on. And this is an opportunity really as a checkpoint to see, where are you at? Are you taking action, or would it be something that you need to add to your to-do list? And from the get-go, I have been talking about saving. Saving, saving, saving. And I'm sure by now you're starting to love saving. And even if it's 1%, or if it's 2% or 3%, please let me know. Just type in the chat box there, yes, I'm saving, or let me know the percentage that you're on. Because saving is certainly the cornerstone of the transformation of your finances, along with that mindset shift, and along with, yes, other practices too. But saving is pretty essential. So just let me know in the chat box there. And now we've also been playing with and creating something else I love, and that is your intentions. So for those of you who have taken the opportunity to share with the group, I acknowledge you, and that's awesome, because it means that you are setting the stage. Setting the stage for the results, creating the right space, creating the right energy. You have the IOUs, fantastic. So there we have Naomi number 2. Welcome, Naomi. I love that, Lisa. Fill your money savings box. Fantastic, lovely. So you can see savings, setting intentions, working towards manifesting your results. And naturally what goes hand in hand with the above 2 points is the creation and, of course, then the evolving of your ideal income and spending plan. And you're welcome, as I said, some of you I know have sent in your spending plans, and I've replied to some of you. Some of you may still be waiting for a reply from me, and don't worry, you will get your reply. And for those of you who are still working on it, then once it's complete, send it in, because it's going to be something that not only do you want to get my feedback on, but it will be a document, and it is a document that you will continue to evolve and continue to develop, so that you're literally fine-tuning it, which is pretty exciting. And of course, tracking income flow. So especially for those of you who run your own business. And when I say tracking income flow, this is not just tracking the results as they come in, but this is also tracking projections. Like if I use you as an example, Roxy, you may look and assess what your average sales would look like per day and then per week. And so that can give you an assessment, or a prediction or projection rather, of what's coming in. And again, it helps you to then focus on what you're going to save from that result. And in fact, tracking your income in this way also allows you to develop your business from this. And you spot on, Mona, absolutely. Saving needs to be listed and lived as an expense. It's not something that's just nice to do if you had the money. It's something you do no matter what, and even if it's 1 or 2%. And that's why from session 1, I brought that to your attention, because we don't want to neglect it. And as we progress through this journey together, it's going to the importance and the commitment that you have is going to deepen and get stronger. So it's really, really awesome. And then affirmations. Create affirmations from your money mantras. So on that, how many of you have already started working with affirmations? If you've gone through module 4. So I really love affirmations, because it really allows you to put a spin on a money mantra. Like, why am I a master saver? And then the answers will just race to your mind. Like you'll say, well, I have a piggy bank and I save coins every day. I have a savings account and I feed it regularly. I have investment plans and I'm excited to fulfill on those. So those are just three examples of, the answers that can come up for you. And I'm sure there's many others as well. And while some of them may not be happening right now, it gives you clues, and it gives you sort of creative and inspired ideas to make that practice real. And ideas get sparked, ideas that you may not have thought of. So that's the idea behind affirmations. It kind of sparks the creativity for you to be able to do things that you may not otherwise have thought of. And everything that we're doing in this course, it's all about creativity. It's all about power, your energy. It's all of these things, but it's fundamentally creative and created from your perspective. And so you find yourself actually in the driving seat rather than feeling like you're trying to play catch up, or things are going wrong, etc., etc. Now, unfortunately, we don't know which Naomi that is, so we need a you better write there in future. One Naomi must just put your surname in there as well. Okay, and your money talk. Wow, this is huge. Who's been using, or who has been using, or still been using the elastic band? Your money talk. In fact, who would like to just share what you have noticed? The things, the words that you speak, or the things that you think about money. Is it shifting? All these Naomis, we're getting very confused. Okay, so your money talk. And the reason I highlight this is that, there's that phrase that you're probably all familiar with, and that is, what you say is what you get. What you say is what you get. And so your money talk is going to your money talk is going to be a massive contribution to not only your experience, but also the reality that you're creating. So welcome Lukman and Rayana. I can see you're there with us now. Fantastic. And my question for everyone is, the money talk question. So Naomi, you're saying you hate the pain. Yes, that's the point. Fantastic, isn't it? Yeah, and that's the whole point as well. You become more mindful of what you allow to enter your mind and to come out of your mouth. Because if there's one thing that you have power over, it's you. You can create, and you do allow the thoughts that come into your mind. You're the one who allows them to, live there rent free. And the question is, are they empowering around money, or are they disempowering? So I'm sure at this point, you're starting to notice that shift. You're starting to notice and build your awareness of what you say about your money. And a very positive and maybe even easy way to shift your speaking is to create and come from the place of gratitude. Gratitude, even when you are presented with a challenge. Because think about this, if you can relate and meet a challenge with gratitude, don't you think the experience of resolving that challenge will be so much more powerful and create not only potentially an opportunity for learning, but potentially an opportunity for breakthrough? That's another layer of this journey. It's about continual expansion of your thinking, expansion of your speaking, and ultimately expansion of your results. Okay, so let me know if that resonates for you. Just let me know if that resonates and maybe what you are hearing for yourself. Awesome, Carla. Lovely. What you say. Fabulous. Yeah, because that we're the ones doing the talking. We're the ones doing the thinking. And it's a tragedy when you think about how the messed up thoughts can mess up your brain. Isn't that funny? If you're going to think messed up thoughts, you're going to have a messed up brain. And then you're going to have a messed up finances. It's almost like stepping 1, 2, 3. That's what I love about this work, in that you hold the power to bring about 180-degree change. Okay? Not 360, because that would take you back to where you were. Think about it. 180-degree change. That's what we're looking for. Okay. Good, good, good. Fabulous. So let us get into this evening session. So tonight, we're going to discuss your emotions, your feelings about your debt. Yeah, spot on, Mana. Spot on. So we're going to look at debt and your emotions. Let me just run through this with you all. We're also going to look at creating your debt freedom plan. I'm also going to talk to you about something called zero-based budgeting method. Okay, so write all these points down because I'm going to be elaborating on each of them. We're also going to talk about increasing that income flow. And we're going to talk about the power of intention. And I love to talk about it like this: the power of intention. Because it's so phenomenal. It's so exciting. And I think, as I've said before, but I'll say it again, you times the power of you is pretty powerful. Okay, so just like me times the power of me, it's pretty powerful. There's no doubt about it. But you times the power of intention is infinitely powerful. And I even have to say, perhaps, don't even, well, I'm sure you will take my word for it, but you don't even necessarily have to take my word for it. Rather, test it for yourself. Test it for yourself and see what happens. Okay, so let's get started. So let's just talk about debt for a moment. And look at that quote on the screen now. Bit of a horror story, really. So, welcome to the world. Debt is a form of poverty, and one of the cruelest. And why is that? Because it gives you the illusion of having more money than you do. Oopsie. So, this opens up the conversation tonight. And yes, it's a very interesting conversation about how we get into debt, how we feel about it, how we resist it, how we wish it away, and yet it still sticks around. And for anyone who has not started saving, or prior to doing this course, most people, and so often people tell me that they don't save because they've got debt. And ironically, they don't save because of the debt. And then, of course, when the next emergency comes around, there is no saving. And then guess what happens? Back to the debt, back to the credit card or personal loan. Okay, so, right, let's leave that quote behind. It's just a bit of a wake-up call, one might say. Yeah, it just deepens the sense of enslavement. Absolutely. Yeah, so the money system in itself is already a system that makes people feel entrapped and enslaved. Debt escalates it. Debt takes it to a whole new level in terms of worry and stress and anxiety. And of course, all of those emotions are not good when it comes to your well-being. So this conversation is actually a well-being conversation. In fact, you may even consider that the whole course is a well-being conversation. Because when you transform your finances and you feel better, well, that's about how you feel. That's about your well-being. And that's what I want for all of you. I want your well-being to be at the top level. That you are going to be vibrating at high energy, full of vitality, full of creativity, full of ideas, full to the brim. That's well-being. That's the well-being that I'm talking about, and that's what I want for you. Okay, so this conversation around the debt is going to go and contribute, I believe, towards fulfilling that goal of increasing your well-being, your mental well-being, your emotional well-being, and your physical well-being. Okay. So, first of all, so as I said earlier, there are some questions. So this is where the questions are coming in. So as we kick off with this conversation, I would love to hear, or actually not hear because I'm not going to hear it. Rather, I'd like to see your comments in the comment box right now. Just one word, just a few words, maybe a short phrase, but just to encapsulate that. Shame, Deborah. Naomi's just putting her surname in. That's her surname because we have two Naomis in the group. So even if you just write B, Naomi, and the other Naomi can just write a J at the end of your comment, then we know who's responding, just so it gives us a context. We could make something up. What does Buto mean? We could make something up, okay? Brilliant, because we are creative, so we could make something up. Tabo, that's fantastic. It's okay, Naomi. No need to feel sorry. No need to say sorry. All good, all good, all good. So Naomi, Roxy, you say you feel anxious. Yeah, very real. Who else feels anxious? I love that. It means you're going to be feeling. Naomi, fantastic creativity there. Wunderbar. See, that's what I said. The creativity is flowing. So back to the question, of course, peeps. Back to the question. How do you feel about your debt? How do you feel about your debt? So that's the million-dollar question here. Wow, Marcy, frozen, fearful, looking at it. Starts to make you feel dizzy. Detest it. That's a strong word there, Naomi. Flat. Flat from Naomi B. Yeah. So when you say flat, that probably would mean, under-energized. And Lisa says terrible. So notice the words that are coming up here, that you feel a sense of detesting it, feel flat, you feel anxious, feel terrible, frozen, fearful. I mean, these are not words that you want to actually have, or that you don't really, well, these are not words that you really want to use in a sentence that's describing your experience. Robbed, overwhelming, powerless. Yep. Yeah. Great. I really appreciate you sharing this because this makes it, you can really get a sense of not only each other's experience, but you can start to see the pressure and the overwhelm and the powerless and the hopeless and the frustration. Who feels frustrated? Who feels resentful? Now, there's a big one. Who feels resentful about their debt? Or who feels like a sense of it shouldn't have happened? And how many of you just can't wait till you're out of debt? Like you almost feel like your life will start when you're out of debt. Yep. So when you say not really, what are you referring to there? No. But yeah, thanks, Naomi. When you say not really, are you referring to the resentment, or are you referring to, sorry, just because there's a slight time delay between my words and the screen. So 1B on your 1B after your comments would be perfect. So it's powerless, guilty. Okay, you're not having any negative emotions. That's Naomi B. Yes, Zoomer's back pocket. Yeah, and not the person. Resentful about their interest. Yeah, and the interest is high. You just feel frozen. Okay, got it. Thanks, Naomi. So thank you for sharing, everyone. That really helps to, acknowledge something here. And in fact, what I want to ask each of you to do is, to write your feelings in your notebook. And in fact, if you saw any other words shared here that you resonate with, wow, that's huge, Naomi. Incapacitated. Yeah, I mean, incapacitated. That's going to have ripple effects. So if you see sharing that with, then write that down, because I really want you just to capture your experience. The words that most clearly describe how you feel. Because your feeling is real. So we're not going to minimize this feeling. We're not going to let me think of the right word to say here. I mean, we need to acknowledge it, because this is real. So we're not going to just shift it aside. We need to very clearly acknowledge it, but the shift here is that we're not going to hang on to it. Okay. Fantastic. So something to share, and this is already, you cannot wait to be debt free. Absolutely, wait to be free from debt. Absolutely, Tabo. Absolutely. So compounding interest. Now, some of you may have heard of compounding interest. So let me just clarify what that is, what that means. So compounding interest is interest that is working against you. In this case. Sorry, I didn't clarify it properly. Let me just start again. So compounding interest is interest on interest. So when you have compounding interest on savings and you're earning interest on the interest, that's wonderful, because your profit is making more profit for you. But when it comes to debt, what's happening is the compounding effect of interest is actually working against you. And that's not great. Just from a numbers point of view, it's going to keep you on the back foot. It's going to keep you feeling that sense of, thinking about how much you're paying out just in interest over and above the capital. So, it's not surprising that you feel frustrated or fearful or powerless or frozen. There's so many words that you all described and shared right now. It's not surprising because it's a heavy burden. It's a heavy weight. So yeah, that's why it feels heavy, because not only is it the debt, it's the compounding interest. And the banks, well, sadly, to them, you are just a number. You are just a number. You are an account number, you are a balance, you are a source of income for them. And on top of that, they are lending money to you that doesn't even exist. So just so we're clear, when banks are lending money, they have to only keep a small percentage. Now, they used to talk about it being 10%, but chances are maybe it's only 1% that they keep on deposit. And they create the rest. They create the debt that they give to you and to anyone out of thin air. That's a bit of a startling fact if you did not know that already. They create the debt out of thin air. It's digital money. It doesn't even exist. But they give it to you. They charge you interest. They charge you compounding interest, and you're just a number to them. And so you start to realize and see that, this debt has got more sides to it and more components to it, that no wonder you feel the way you feel. Okay? So while that is true, yeah, you feel afraid, you feel stressed, you feel overwhelmed. So, while all of this is true, the conversation tonight is going to help you to shift out of that. Because, once again, with this whole debt, or this world of debt, and the way it's created and the way it's structured, that you must pay so much interest and it costs so much and it takes so long to pay back, there's almost no surprise that it creates so much stress. Yeah. So, compounding interest working against you. So, it's no surprise that you're feeling, in some respects, some of you might be feeling you're playing, you fight it, you're not playing, sorry, fighting a losing battle. Or as you take a few steps forward and you manage to clear some debt, and then no sooner have you cleared some debt, and then it's back to debt. And exactly, Roxy, the interest that you're earning on your debt is higher than the interest on investments. Yeah, so it's a system designed to make it a little bit more difficult, let's say, or a lot more difficult to get ahead. Okay, so we've talked about how you feel about your debt, and we've also talked about the effect of this compounding interest that's working against you, and just the way in which you are a number. Yeah, this is what really bothers me. Business, I guess, that they're making money out of you, and they actually don't can afford to pay it or not. As long as you pay, that's fine. If you don't, well, then you're in a fractional reserve system. The question is, how small is the fraction? That's the question. How small is the fraction? But now I'm opening up another question for all of you. And this is a more juicy. This is something I really want you to now just anticipate and think about in your mind's eye. Really get those creative juices flowing right now, and then type your answer in the chat box. And that is, how will you feel? How will you feel? Will you feel free? Will you feel lighter? Will you feel ecstatic? Will you feel powerful? How will you feel? So again, I want you to come up with a couple words about how you will feel, share how you will feel when your debt is settled. Now again, I'm not talking about house debt, because that is a long-term payment, and we can get to that at a different point. Exactly, Mara. They teach you like a debtor, not a client. Yeah, exactly. So, relieved, happy, fuzzy, yes, energized. Absolutely, Naomi. How will you feel when it's settled? Like soaring. Whatever you write on the screen right now, please write it in your notebook. Okay, so you have this contrast. On the one hand, you've written down in your notebook how you feel about your debt currently, and then you're also writing down about how you're going to feel when it's done and dusted, when it's gone. So powerful and grateful, in control, powerful, back in the financial driver's seat. Yeah, excellent. Excellent. So I'd love to hear from everyone. So keep writing, everyone. Don't hold back. This is your chance to express yourself. How will you feel when your debt is settled? And look, let's be honest, you know how you'll feel. I mean, the words that come up most often for people are things like, let's go with ecstatic. Yeah, good to get rid of all the papers and the clutter. So how about ecstatic? How about free? So if you like any of these words, write them down. Relief. What about relief? A lot of people tell me they will feel a huge sense of relief. Even a sense of accomplishment. You'll feel good. They found the chocolate factory. I love that nice descriptive words there. Yum, yum. Let's have some chocolate. So I really want you to play with this for a moment. You know, how will you feel? I want you to get into the feeling. I want you to get into the feeling as deeply as possible. You'll feel free. You will feel energized. You'll feel relieved. You'll feel delighted. You'll feel good. Taking back your power. Totally. You'll feel good. You won't stay up at night worrying about this debt. Naomi, yeah, a Naomi chocolate factory. Yeah, free. Exactly. Free. And I want you to start to think about the trap that has been created inside of the money system, inside of the debt system. And it's while you're living under this trap or in this little jail. Maybe even it's a self-imposed jail, or it's just a societal sort of agreement that it's like a prison sentence. You are going to be releasing yourself from that prison sentence. So let's see who wants to say a little bit more about how will you feel? How will you feel? Will it change your life? That's the question. Will it change your experience of your life to be debt free? Will it have you sleep better at night? So that points back to the well being. Would you feel more energized? Start making her own living. Lovely, Roxy. Yes, you'll feel like you're on cloud nine. So write that down. Please write that down. These are all important description and creation words. Joy. Oh, I love that. Joyful. Yes. Grateful. I think Marna mentioned grateful earlier as well. Joy. Confident. Oh, that's brilliant. Fantastic. You're relieved and free and empowered. Fantastic. And again, if you see any words here that you like some of you might feel, yes, I'll feel so much more confident. Just knowing that the money that's going to come in the future is yours to pay bills, but not debts, and to save and to keep. Just you feel like, sure, you almost feel like you've arrived, like your life is starting. Especially if you like Roxy, where you pay off one debt and then there's another one. It is debilitating. how you feel, and the way you will feel when the debt is settled is very important. And you're going to understand why I'm going into this as we take the next step. And I love that, Marsha, at ease. Not feel guilty. Exactly. Okay, so we're just going to put the emotional conversation. Okay, not emotional conversation, that's not the right word, but the debt and the emotions, we're just going to put that aside for a moment. I want to just bring your attention to talking about the types of debts, just to kind of get the big picture here. But we're going to come back to the emotions. Yeah, feel like a kid again, no worries. Healthy, oh, love it, yes. I mean, worry-free. So, in fact, let's just take that further. Roxy, and you talk about worry-free, and Tabo with the confident, and Lukman with the joy, and also Tabo says healthy. My question for you now is, what would that, or rather, let me put it this way, what difference would that make in your life? To have more confidence, to be feeling more healthy, to have no worries, to feel relieved and empowered and at ease. What difference would that make in your life? Just to take it to another level. So we've identified the experience and the feeling, but what difference? Yeah, so you wouldn't need to feel like an ostrich anymore, Marcy. So just think about that now. I am asking you just to take it a little bit further in terms of what would that, yeah, all the difference. That's really great, Marna, with a capital A-double-L. All the difference. I mean, actually, think about this. It goes to your very core. Because these are the things we carry inside of ourselves. And when you meet people from the outside, you can't tell what they're going through unless they tell you. And it's the same with you. Other people who would meet you and see you going about your business, living your life, they wouldn't know that you're dealing with a financial or debt issue. But when it's cleared and when it's gone, it's like you feel lighter. Yes, I love that sense of rebirth. Yeah, and you can do the things you really want to. Exactly, like the wound is getting cleaned out, hey? Sure. Excellent, excellent. So you can start to see this, this is big and important. And it's not just the numbers, okay, because we're going to get to the numbers as well. And we do have to do the numbers. That's part of the debt freedom plan, absolutely. And I will be emailing you a template to use for that in the email that goes out tomorrow. Or actually, no, not tomorrow. It'll go out Saturday, because I'm doing another session tomorrow. So there is a practical side, but the emotional side is huge. Okay, but now we're going to just talk about for a moment, and please feel free to share if there's anything else you want to say about the difference it would make. But let's just clarify for ourselves here just the different types of debt we are experiencing and that exist. Okay, so there is the consumer debt, and largely speaking, that's the debt I'm talking about here. Fantastic, Tabo. Yeah, exactly. You could easily create more abundance. Yeah. It's like having debt is really like a noose around your neck. Just holds you back and slows you down. Okay, so there's consumer debt, and of course we know what that is, but I'll just describe it anyway. So it's that would be your credit card debt and your short-term loan debt, or a RCP, as Roxy talked about, and different short-term debts that the banks and learning institutions offer, but they're usually supercharged with very high interest rates. Okay. This also could include store cards. Now, there are some store cards, there would be some store cards that offer interest free, so that's great. But then there are some store cards, like let's be honest, Woolworths, that load massive interest. Exactly, Carla. That's the other thing. You would attract more of the positive. Even think about this. Not worrying about debt allows you to be even a more powerful manifester of the results. And yes, bubbly all the time, positive all the time, grateful all the time. It's actually huge. The more and more we explore this conversation, the energy, the vitality, like living your life at its fullest potential. Lovely. Tell Donald Trump. Ah, brilliant. So, massive, massive freedom. And, there's a spin-off as well. Let's just even take it a little bit further. Think about the difference it'll make in your family and in your relationships when you're not feeling grumpy or feeling upset or feeling stressed or just carrying this burden called debt. Huge difference. I mean, huge difference. Your quality of life transforms. And again, that's what my goal is here. Transformation of the quality of your life. We get to live this life. What do you want? You want quality of life. You want quality of life, whatever that looks like for you, because it'll be different for different people. But feeling energized, feeling free to be creative, to be self-expressed, to do what you need to do, and to create abundance and peace of mind. Huge. Okay, so back to the types of debt. Consumer debt, we've discussed, and there is also investment debt. So, investment debt would be where you have taken out a loan and you have purchased a home, a house, a property. Now, just to clarify for everyone, just so you're all clear on this, do you know that your primary home, the one that you live in, that you might have taken a bond on, is not an asset? So I'm just putting that in as a side note that you may already be aware of it. It is an investment, but it's not an asset. So an asset is something that's making you money. But investment debt, nevertheless, is debt. But investment debt very often is payable over 20 years. And that's also, Marsha, that's the thing. Look for the discounts. See where you can save money. Awesome, awesome. So investment debt and then education debt. So education debt might be that you have got a loan for your child's education, for their university education, or perhaps even for your own education. And it doesn't necessarily have to just be, tertiary or university education. It could be a loan you've taken for any other training. So those are the three types of debt. Okay. But the one that trips people up the most, of course, is the consumer debt, because it's the one that's going to carry the highest interest rate. Okay, everybody all clear about that? So now that we know the different types of the debts, the next question to explore is, how do we label debt? So before I go on to the next screen and show you some of the answers about labeling debt, what do you say to yourself? Like, what is debt? In fact, what is it that you've heard? Like, people talk about, I want to just, before I give you the answer, I want to just give you a chance to sort of say, what do you think is the label? How do we label debt? What are the labels that you've heard around debt? So I'm not talking about the feelings now. So that was something else. Earlier on we talked about the feelings about debt. Now we're talking about safe debt. You mean safe debt, Deborah? Yeah, you can teach your children differently for a want or a need. Yeah. Okay, so that's great. Thank you guys. That's really awesome. So I'm going to share with you primarily there are two ways in which people label debt. Okay. So there's two ways, and I'm going to share a third and new way for you. Okay. So generally, and I'm sure you'll resonate with this or you'll recognize this label. Generally, the way people label debt is it's bad. Bad debt. It's bad. I mean, you shouldn't have it. It's not helping. That's the way we label our debt. Now, bad debt, again, particularly is that consumer debt. Whereas good debt would most likely be debt that is investment related debt, like, as I said earlier, to take debt to buy a house or buy an investment or buy a property or invest in something, be a business even. And education too. Education would also be labeled as good debt. Okay. So what happens is, and maybe you have this consciously or maybe it's not even conscious, but it's in the background. It's probably like somewhere planted in the subconscious that you're not even aware of it. But as we label this debt as bad, and as Taba said, it's bad, debt is bad. We label this debt as bad, or we label this debt as, wrap it all up as debt is bad. What do we do as well? Because we're human beings, we also personalize it. So we make ourselves feel bad, or even we identify ourselves as being bad, well, bad at money, bad at organizing our finances. So suddenly you also have this label which you may not even know you have. So it may not even be conscious. It may not be something that's just below the surface. In the background, people talk about good debt and bad debt, and you go, oh, yeah, no, I've got bad debt, so it's bad. We personalize it. We become the victim of this bad debt. And in fact, taking it further in the personalization process, we make ourselves bad. And of course, you'll remember, and this is part of the reason why I love to include this book in the course, and that is the 4 agreements, because one of the 4 agreements, as you know, is don't personalize it. Don't make it personal. But we do, because we're humans. And of course, when we label the debt as bad and we personalize it on ourselves, it's just another heavy sense that we're carrying. Just another heavy burden. How we label debt, good debt or bad debt. But now here is the good news. So the next slide is going to open up the good news. So don't feel bad. Well, that's so funny. You may be feeling bad, but now we're going to open up something new. I want you all to consider, very important point, that debt is neither good nor bad. It's been labeled, okay? We as humanity, we as human beings have labeled it that way. But what if we understood and stepped back from those labels and understood that it's just neutral? Because if money is energy, as we've talked about before, consider that debt is a form of energy too. But it's neutral. It's not good or bad. So I'm sharing this with you to help you just actually to neutralize your experience. Just breathe that in. It's like, okay, debt is neutral. Because also debt is just numbers. Remember earlier I said that you're just a number to the bank? Well, consider this. Your debt is just a number. Your debt is just a number. So what does that mean? Let's have a look. It's neutral. It's numbers. It's neither good or bad, but rather it's about how you feel about it. It's how you feel about it, okay? And that's what we explored at the beginning of this conversation. How do you feel about your debt? And you had some things to share. It's how you choose to feel about it that counts. Okay, so while you might feel the experience of what you shared in the beginning, feeling, the stress and the fear and feeling frozen and disempowered, that's the way I'm going to leave you tonight. Okay, so while we've moved away from the good or bad label, and we're no longer going to personalize it because you're not bad, debt is neutral, it's numbers, but it's how we relate to it and how you choose to feel about it. So, before we go on to the solution, well, the next solution, what shall I call it? Before we go on to the next step around how you feel about your debt, there's something else I want to remind you about. Okay. So this might be an unexpected reminder, but nevertheless, I'm going to remind you that your debt, here's the funny thing, your debt was once the solution. Just think about that for a moment. Your debt was the solution. It was a solution to a problem that you had. Now, the problem might have been you needed money for some emergency. Or maybe it was a trip you were planning and you paid with your credit card. So let's be honest. If you were to think about your debt, or maybe you have several debts, there's a reason behind why each and every one of them started. Would that be correct? So, your debt, it was the solution. And how wonderful is that? It was actually the solution. Maybe it was a short-term term or a short moment of relief that you felt, and then the next moment, that same debt that was the solution, it now became the problem. This is the cycle of life. So it's a really interesting cycle to understand. Because so often in life, we are looking for the solution, we find the solution, and then the solution becomes the next problem. So if you've experienced that in your life already, it's okay. Why it's okay? Because that's the cycle. And then you will find a solution to that problem, and then that solution will become the problem. And on it goes. Like everything you're going to do, everything you think about, everything you're creating. First is an idea, it's going to solve some problem, but no matter, not say no matter, as you try to solve that problem or take action around that solution, a problem gets presented. So think about it. It could be a small thing, it could be a big thing. Problem, solution. Problem, solution. But if you can relate to it that way, it gives you a lot more freedom to understand that the problem is not the end of the world, but rather it's about working out how that problem can become the next solution. Does that make sense? And this applies not only to debt. I'm bringing it to your attention here in this conversation right now, but it applies to many areas of life. And so often people get caught up in problems and stuck in problems versus realizing that your problem was a result of a previous solution. And it's simply the journey of life. And it's okay. So the more you can validate what's happening and what you're dealing with and bring a level of okayness and ease to it, the better. The easier the journey is for you. Okay, so that's the problem solution cycle. Okay, so have a look at your life and just see, what are you dealing with right now? What What problem have you solved, which is now turned into another problem? So if you're living your home, Roxy. So people who have a bond on their home and they have the home as an asset, it's actually not an asset. It's only an asset if it's generating income for you. So it's a bit weird. It is an asset, but it's not. That's what I'm saying. Right. So I'm going to invite you to do something quite surprising. While we have now acknowledged that there's good debt and there's bad debt and there's a way you feel about your debt, the debt was once a solution, but now it's the problem. There's something happening between you and your debt. There's something happening between you and your debt, and let me tell you what it is. There's resistance. Like we said earlier, you wish it was gone, and you know how you'll feel when it's gone. When your debt is gone, you will feel fantastic. You will feel relieved. You'll feel at ease. You'll feel joyful. You'll feel grateful, powerful, all these fabulous, fabulous words that really you want to have those things now and not in the future. And because you've got this like standoff with your debt, so there's this resistance going on with your debt. And because there's a standoff and there's this resistance, what happens is you stay stuck. You stay stuck. Because you've probably heard the statement, what you resist persists. So how many of you can identify or relate to the fact that yes, there is a degree of resistance between you and your debt? Can you see that? There is resistance between you and your debt. The moment you feel like it shouldn't be like this, like the moment you're feeling like it'll be better when it's gone, but it's not gone, there's resistance. And what you resist persists. So you've got this like standoff between you and your debt. And your debt makes you feel a certain way. You're wanting to get away from that feeling. You know how you'll feel in the future. But guess what? The resistance keeps you stuck. So, exactly, Roxy, people will say debt is a burden. So, when you look at my screen right now and you see the words there, embrace your debt. You may not have expected to hear that from me tonight. I'm going to invite you, all of you, to give up the resistance. Release the resistance. Breathe that in. Say goodbye to the resistance and say hello to your debt. Welcome your debt. Welcome your debt. Embrace your debt. Give your debt a big hug, figuratively speaking. In your mind's eye, embrace your debt because it's your debt. You created it. And remember, it was a solution. So what if you could shift that? What if you could shift from the resistance to the embracing? What would that make possible? And let me add, okay, this is a healing exercise, okay? And it's not a healing exercise for the debt. It's a healing exercise for you. I'm asking you, I'm inviting you, and practically begging you to embrace your debt. Embrace your debt. How does that sound? Does it sound crazy? Well, if it sounds crazy, then that's good because we need to bring some crazy to this solution. Embrace your debt. So how do you feel about embracing your debt? So Celeste says she can definitely relate. Exactly. You created it. It's your baby. And in line with that thinking of a baby, what if I were to invite you to love your debt? Again, can you see the healing emotions that are coming through here? I'm inviting you to love your debt because you've been resisting it. You've been hating it. You've been resenting it. You've been frustrated with it. And it's almost like, and this is a terrible example, but I'm going to just say it, like it's almost like there's a child in your home that you are resisting being there, or you resent it. And, well, let's be honest, that's not very helpful or healthy. But that's what you're doing with your debt. It's like an unwanted child. Again, a terrible example. But I want to just drive this home. You have been resisting your debt, like you don't want your debt. You don't want your debt. You wish it was gone, but it's not going to be gone for a while. It might be 2 months. It might be 2 years. It may be 10 years. So what if you were to bring some serious healing in and embrace it? Love your debt. Can you see my little picture with a little heart there? That's a little hint for you. That's going to be your new mantra. I love my debt. My debt was a solution. And now I'm going to take responsibility for my debt. And I'm not going to feel burdened. So these are the words you're going to start saying to yourself. You're going to wake up in the morning, or as you go to sleep at night, you're going to say, thank you, I love my debt. Now, this might be so surprising. It might be so surprising. This may not be what you were expecting to hear. But as Naomi says, yes, it sounds good. This is healing. And it's healing for you. Okay, this is about you, not about the money, and not about the debt, and not about the numbers, and not about the banks. It's about you. There's a price to being awesome. Yeah, Roxy, when you're so angry about it, you make yourself wrong, you make others wrong. There's like a negative energy. It's such a huge cost that gets paid, higher than the interest when you consider the emotional and mental trauma. So, what if you loved your debt? I promise you, this is such a healing approach to it. And it doesn't mean that you're going to keep it around because you love it. You're still going to drive it down as fast as possible. But you're going to do it now from a healthy and abundant and loving space. Because you're going to love your debt. You're going to be grateful for your debt. It served a purpose. It once was the solution. And I just love sharing this with you because I love to tell people and teach people about loving their debt. Think about it. Just let it in. Good question, Marsha. Figuratively speaking, yeah. Figuratively speaking, yes. It's about, okay. Of course, I would encourage you to reduce your taxable income as much as possible. And so that is an important conversation. Reduce your taxable income, legally speaking, as much as you possibly can. Absolutely. Because now I want to bring you to the next component of tonight's conversation. We talked about a moment ago how you will feel when your debt is settled. And you brought up some words. You said liberated, you said free, you said relieved, and I did ask you to write it down in your notebook. So you've got it right there in your notebook. You know how you will feel when it's settled. So I'm going to invite you to do something really kind of surprising. but it's something in your mind's eye, in your imagination that you're going to do. And this is what it is. You are going to reach out into the future. And that future might be a year away or 5 years away. However far away it is in the future, it's in the future. It's kind of like the when then. People will say, you know, when I'm debt free, then I'm going to feel confident. When I'm debt free, I'll feel liberated. When I'm debt free, then. So it's the when then game. And you know what? Sorry. Even if the timeline is a month away, that's too long to wait. That's too long to wait. So while you're loving your debt, sorry guys, and embracing your debt, I want you to feel that feeling that you talked about that you would have when your debt is settled. I want you to reach into the future and I want you to grab that. And I want you to bless yourself with that feeling. So Tabo, you said confidence. I want you to have that confidence now. Luqman said liberated. I want you to grab that feeling. Bubbly all the time, Roxy. I want you to feel bubbly all the time. I want you to have the sense of rebirth. I want you to feel healthy, no worries, feel like a kid again, relieved, empowered, cloud nine, free. Just going through some of your notes that you said earlier. Can you start to see what is opening up here? You can claim that feeling now. You can claim that feeling now. So, Deborah, you can feel safe now. You can feel safe now. Not only when the debt's paid off, you can feel that feeling right now. It's a choice. It's a choice. So you need to embrace that feeling, whatever it was for you. You can have it now. You don't need to wait for a date in the future. Exactly, Carla. I love it that you got that. If you can love your debt, you can also take responsibility for it. And then inside of taking responsibility, it's also okay. It's also okay. It's not a disaster. This is about healing you from the inside. And how you feel day by day and week by week is what makes a difference. And Carla, what I'll add here as well, you know, with regards to your intention and for anyone setting intentions, you're feeling good and energized and on cloud nine, like Roxy shared, that's going to help you to manifest those results that you want much more quickly, still carrying the burden of the debt. So this conversation is at the perfect time as we're all stepping into, as all of you are stepping into creating powerful intentions that you believe in and that you believe you can manifest. This just helps you to clear the emotions out of the way, the negative emotions out of the way. And you start to see how you don't need to feel held back and pulled down by your debt ever again because you love it. Just like you love your children, just like you love anything that you love in your life. It's good. It was a solution. It's no longer a problem because you're going to love it. You're going to love it right out of your life. Isn't that hilarious? You're going to love it right out of your life, but you're going to pour love, positive energy into it. And you're going to feel that sense of freedom from today. And as Luqman says, I love it. It feels great. And that's what I want. That's what I want for you. I want you all to feel great. Because you can. But sometimes you need to hear this to realize it and then claim it for yourself. So however you know you'll feel when your debt is settled, I want you to reach out into the future and grab that feeling and write it down in your notebook. And every morning when you wake up, state those words as affirmations. Own them. Take them on for yourself. Do not let the debt stand in the way. Yeah, and as you resist your debt, Roxy, you're just creating the stuckness. And the resistance, creating the stuckness, means that, well, you're stuck. And there's no freedom in being stuck. What you resist persists. So it's kind of ironic. Embrace it and let it just melt away. And yes, it might take a few months. And we're going to get to the debt freedom plan now. It may take a few months, but you can do it. Again, you build that confidence that you can do it. And there's a few more tips I'm going to share tonight that will also help you to accelerate paying off your debt, which is pretty cool. So there's a forgiveness prayer here for you. Just breathe it in. Forgiveness prayer. I forgive myself for my financial past. So you may need to say this to yourself. In fact, it's going to be in the email that goes out, or you can always take a photo of the screen. So I want you to read along with me. I love the person I was when I made past financial decisions, and I honor and respect that I was doing the best I could in the moment. I am grateful for all the choices in my life that have led me to this moment, and my financial choices are part of that. I bless all past, present, and future financial decisions and situations as part of the ongoing creation and unfolding of my expansive, abundant, rich life. Amen. Just let that sink in. There is a level of forgiveness. There's no need to beat yourself up. That's not going to help. So while you're loving your debt, you may as well just love yourself too. Makes sense? Oops. So, how is everyone feeling now? Woohoo! How are you feeling? Now, look, it might take a while for all of this to sink in, and chances are tomorrow morning you'll wake up and you'll think, no, I'm not so sure about this loving my debt thing. You might be thinking, Linda's lost it. What is she talking about? How can she tell me to love my debt? And if that comes up, guess what? It's okay. Just don't hang around with that thought for too long, but it's okay. So Luqman, you're feeling happy. Yay! And Naomi says, wow, in capital letters. Fantastic. Wow. Yes, exactly. Wow. A shift in perspective can make a difference. It's as simple as that. And when it comes to you and your money, it starts with a shift in perspective, because as you shift that perspective, so you are able to bring in new results. Yeah, exactly, Naomi. And that's what it's about. It's about turning things around. Things that look like they are a problem, turning them around. So as I'm saying earlier, some of this might really land for you very easily, and you're resonating and you're like going, yes, this is good, this is good. Some of you might have questions, and that's what the WhatsApp group is for, because tomorrow or the next day you might be feeling that, hang on a sec, I'm not sure about this or I'm not sure about that, and please share. Don't sit on questions. Share. That's what the group is there for, to be able to express yourself. Okay, so on the happy note and the new freedom and the embracing and the love, you're going to get to create your debt freedom plan. Okay, so as you can see, there's an Excel document that I'm going to be sending to you. It looks like this. And as it says there, remember, it's just a number. So you're going to use this document to actually tabulate your numbers. Because for some people, there's such a level of resistance that they don't even want to look at what their debt actually totals. And so they don't actually know. And if you don't know what your debt numbers are, chances are it's even more scary, because when you don't know something for certain, the imagined amounts might well be higher, or the imagined amount is worse in your mind's eye. And so then you're living this idea in your mind of it being like much worse than it really is. And again, you can see like that's not working for you. And when you discover what the numbers are, who knows? They may be, the total is lower than you thought. Plus, I'm going to share with you some strategies to drive your debt down faster. So this actually becomes something to get very excited about. Yes, there's a to it. You've got to do the numbers, but you're going to be getting excited. Excited about your debt freedom plan. I haven't heard of Christy, Marsha. Okay, so you're going to get excited because, as it says there, clarity equals power. Yay, we love that. So when you complete your debt freedom plan, there are some questions you will ask yourself. And the plan, let me just go back to it, it gives you structure and the columns to fill out these questions. So the first thing you'll fill out will be, who do you owe money to? So just to go back to that, that will be, and it says list of money dues. So that's going to be the names of the companies or the shops or the organizations, or even as a personal loan. Who do you owe? So you're going to start by getting clear on who is the money owed to. Then you're going to work out how much do you owe to that individual or to that organization. Again, just getting your numbers down on paper. And it's a very liberating exercise to do, Roxy and everyone else. It may be even an exercise you've been resisting doing. But ironically, in embracing this exercise, you take another step forward to set yourself free. Well, do share, Carla. I like the sound of that. Another aha moment. Do share. Okay, so how much do you owe? Then you're going to write down, what are the monthly payments? What are they currently? So you're going to write that down. And then you can write down the interest rate. Now, some might be interest-free and some might have high interest rates. So you want to write that down as well. Okay, and look what I wrote there. With thanks. Oh my word. Yes, I know. Lots of shocks tonight. You're going to look at each of these debts and you're going to give thanks for each of them. You're going to get present to, now really listen to this. You are going to get present to what that debt made possible in your life. Now, you may not remember, so if it's a matter of like you can't even remember, well, maybe you just have to either go do some research and see what it was, or just go, okay, it was a blessing. Makes sense? So in doing this exercise, to move further away from the resistance and the resentment, you're going to write down, or not necessarily write down, sorry, but you're certainly going to get present to what you're thankful for and what that debt made possible. Okay, are you all clear on all this? So once you've done the numbers work, we're now going to look at what I call ranking or strategizing on how are you going to deal with the debt. Now, there are three things to look at in terms of your debt. So one of them is the emotional weight. Like how much emotion is attached to that debt, as in, how stress which is the one that you feel that you'd most like to get rid of first, like going on the emotions and the feeling side of things. How heavy is it? Like you might look at your list and go, okay, that's the one I want to focus on more. On the other hand, it might be, let me tackle the one that has the highest interest rate. And the third strategy could be what they call the snowball method. Now, this is about the feel-good factor. So I usually recommend the snowball method, but I mention the others just so you have these options. What the snowball method means, and in fact you will apply a similar strategy to the others. Let's say you can find an extra 100 Rand or an extra 500 Rand. What you do is you add that 500 Rand or that 100 Rand or that amount, you add it to the smallest debt. Okay? Which then accelerates the repayments. So let's say your smallest debt was going to take 6 months to pay off. And let's say it was 500 Rand a month for 6 months. Now you're adding another 500. So instead of taking 6 months, it's going to take 3 months. So this is not about the feeling about the debt, and it's not about the interest rate about the debt. It's just simply the smallest debt. But what you get to have is an enormous sense of accomplishment. So that's why I call it the feel-good factor. You get to feel good. Like now you already feel good because you're loving your debt and you're embracing your debt. But now it just takes it to the next level. Like you start to feel, yay, one's gone. But then it doesn't stop there, because let's say, using my example of an extra 500 Rand on a debt that was already costing you 500. So that's 1,000 you were paying. That 1,000 then rolls up, and this is where the snowball method name comes in. It rolls up, and that 1,000 Rand gets applied to the next smallest debt. So you are again accelerating the payment on that debt by now 1,000 Rands. Okay? And you can see what's going to happen here. That means that debt timeline will be shortened, and then you will be able to roll it up to the next smallest amount. So that's what the snowball method looks like. However, if you prefer to focus on paying off the highest interest rate debt first, then you would take your extra, let's say 500, and apply it to the debt that has the highest interest rate. Or if it's the emotional weight, then you'd apply it there. So this is where you get to make the choices, but as long as you are bringing an extra amount into your debt equation. Okay, you're with me? So if you have any questions, we can take some questions at the end. But I want to talk about more action steps to facilitate your debt freedom plan and your financial peace of mind. Okay, so we've kind of covered this already. So listing all your debts, starting with the largest total at the top. So again, this is like the way in which you're going to lay it out so that you have then ultimately the smallest debt at the end of the list. And again, you list the current monthly payment for each debt and the interest rate. Okay, and so coming back to the snowballing method, which, as I say, this is the one that I like to focus on. I like to just tell you about the other ones as an option, but my recommendation is snowballing one. And by paying extra on the smallest debt, you get rid of the debts. All your money for you, Rox. Once you have paid that small debt off, of course, you repeat the last step and you allocate that amount to the next debt on the list. And also to celebrate each payment and to acknowledge yourself. And the way I like to phrase it is, you are saving your way out of debt. Pretty cool. Because you're paying extra. So you want to see that as a form of saving. Now, for anyone who does not have debt, maybe it's something else that is bothering you in terms of purchases that you've made and any sense of shame or regret. And again, you can use the forgiveness prayer. So wherever you are in the equation of debt and spending money, you want to make sure that you're letting go of any shame or any regret and set yourself free. That's what you're doing. You're setting yourself free. Okay, so we've now looked at debt and your emotions, and I hope you're starting to feel differently about your debt. And we've shared about the debt freedom plan, and that document will be emailed to you. So now we'll look at zero-based budgeting. And this is to help you to find money to reduce your debt. So one of the strategies that you can use, and maybe some of you are doing this already, and that is to track your spending. So zero-based budgeting essentially means you take an expense and you bring it down to zero. And you say to yourself, okay, what is the lowest amount that I can spend? Okay, so this is different to your ideal spending plan, and we it's not discounting that, because the ideal spending plan is still the goal. But while you're on this journey, there may be some expenses that you can reduce, some that you could get rid of completely. So you start to go to work on your spending to see what you can reduce or remove completely, and that money gets allocated towards your debt. The strategy while you are focusing on your debt, because you can see what's happening here. As you're starting to love and embrace your debt, that is going to propel you even more powerfully forward to find ways to get rid of it. Like you're loving your way out of debt. You're saving and loving your way out of debt. So where you save is on what you don't spend. So if you only buy what you absolutely need, and you say to yourself, well, instead of spending this 100 Rand, I'm going to allocate it to my debt. So your debt freedom plan becomes a massive priority. And every bit of extra you pay towards your debt is a celebration. So, and this is not about deprivation or, oh, I can only buy what I need, I can't buy what I want. No, it's not that at all. This is setting you free. This is setting you free. Because that's the other side. While you create this new view and your new experience of loving your debt, it has to be backed up with action. Okay? It's essential. It has to be backed up with action, because without the action, it's going to start to not work and you're going to start to feel resentful again. And that's not what I want for you. Another fun thing to do is set up Sell It Friday. So what that means is you might go around your home and you may see or identify things that you don't really need anymore. And the reason for Friday is a great day to advertise. Whether you advertise on Gumtree or whichever way you advertise. You advertise on Friday, people call you, they come look at it on the weekend, you've sold it by Sunday, and guess what? You've got more money for your debt. Friday means set up Sell It Friday. Okay. So these ideas are just to kind of help you get your creative juices flowing. Another one is to negotiate better rates. And so this also comes back to your spending plan, where you may look at the insurances that you're paying, or your cell phone contract, or any expenses or debit orders that you're paying, and you might think, well, I need to negotiate better rates here. And yes, it will require a phone call or perhaps several phone calls. But the key thing is you can bring some expenses down. And in doing that, guess what? More can go towards your debt. So can you see how we are starting to get very strategic in identifying where we can find more money to pay towards the debt? Just fantastic. And of course, then there's found money. So found money can be any number of things. You may literally find some money, or you may find opportunities, or you may find something like a discount, like Marshall was sharing earlier. And so by finding a discount, you're spending less and you can save the difference. And that difference that you save can go towards your debt. So these are all little strategies. And yes, on their own, they can be small amounts, but collectively they add up. And then to remove fees. So that comes back to also the debit orders. For example, you may be paying things that are going through your bank account that you're not even 100% sure what they are. So this is a great opportunity to clean up debit orders, stop orders, and make sure that there's nothing going through your account that you don't want to see going through your account. Nothing. Whether it's bank charges, and that's a huge one too. Bank charges, cell phone rates, insurances, gym charges, and any other debit orders. So this is a good opportunity to check on those. Okay, so before we go on to the power of intention, everybody feeling good? Everyone feeling excited to take this on and to take action? I hope you're all feeling good. Which does bring me then to another favorite of mine, as I shared earlier, the power of intention. Now, I know some of you have set some intentions and you've shared with Fantastic, and I know that some of you have had questions about the power of intention. And the world of the power of intention really exists in creation, as in you are creating your future in your mind. You're creating the future in your mind. And by putting it into an intention and then by sharing it, you're giving it life, you're giving it energy. But once you've created your intention, your job is then, as it says on the screen, to trust, breathe, and believe. Okay, so your job is not to worry. Your job is not to plant seeds of doubt. Your job is not to get attached. Okay? But you do need to take action. So I don't want you to think that you can set an intention and then take no action. No, you need to take action, whether it is following up with clients or completing orders for products, whatever your business entails, you'll know what action to take. So it will be obvious action, but it'll also be inspired action. And so obvious action is, well, as it says, the obvious things that you know to do. But inspired action will be those thoughts you have. You wake up in the middle of the night with an inspired thought. Write it down. Have a notepad next to your bed. Write it down. I keep a notepad next to my bed because I like to write things down if I think of them, so that later on, when I can go back to my notes, and there it is. The inspired idea is captured in words on paper. Really tap into that inspired action that comes through at times that you least expect it. And it's the result of what you're thinking about in terms of your intentions. So trust, breathe, and believe. And as you also learned in module 4, is to live as if. Whew, I love that one. Breathe that in. Live as if. It's 2 small little words, or 3 in total. Live, but the as if. It's transformational. They're two small little words. But if you're living as if you're debt free, and again, not spending as if, as I said, not spending as if, but if you're living as if you're debt free while you're working on your debt freedom plan, do you know how powerful you are? Very powerful. You're confident, you're healthy, you're vibrant, you're free, you're on cloud nine, you're positive, you're amazing. And all of those qualities support the world of the power of intention. Okay, so the power of intention is energized by good feelings and good energy. Okay, it's not energized by doubt and fear. Okay, trust, surrender, breathe, and believe. And then one that I love to remind everyone about is that you need to be committed but not attached. So committed means you're there. It's happening. You're going to make it happen. It's done, but not attached. That is so, so important. So what I mean by not attached, attached is where you are so attached that you literally squeeze the energy out of the result. That's what attachment is. People get very attached at times. They get so attached to their result that they kill it. So if you find yourself being attached, let it go. And again, get in touch with me. If there's an intention you're working on and you're starting to feel attached and you're starting to feel stressed about it and you're starting to wonder if it's going to work, you need to clear that. You need to be committed but not attached. Now, what that means is you're committed to the result. But if it does not happen, your world is not going to end. It's okay. Your world is not going to end. That is what committed but not attached. Committed means you will do what it takes. You are there. You're going to make it happen. Okay? You're not going to fall asleep or sit on the sofa and hope it's going to happen. You're going to be in action. And whatever the action looks like, you're going to be taking it. But you're not attached. This is the access to freedom. This is truly, I believe, the access to freedom. Committed but not attached. And look in your life and just see, what are you taking action on? What are you committed to? It boils down to what is important to you. But if it's important to you because you value it, committed to it, you actually have to also give it freedom. Like you have to trust. And another phrase that people often use, if it's meant to be, and a phrase I've come to use lately or recently is, from my lips to God's ears, from my lips to God's ears. If this is meant to be, let it be. And that is so empowering because I can just get out of the way then. And this is what I'm inviting you to do, just to get out of the way. Like, don't be the reason why your results are not coming in. And if you're in the way, then you will be the reason. But again, don't beat yourself up. Just acknowledge it. Committed, but not attached. And we're going to revisit these words and these statements as we work through through the sessions that are coming up ahead. So, you're going to take it on. You're going to take action. You're going to feel your way through it. Again, as I've always said, it's not about getting it right. It's about engagement. Bringing yourself to this game. And I like to use the word game because, think of it as a game. You're creating a game called My Debt Freedom Plan. And if the idea of it being a game makes it lighter and more fun, well then, even better. Because my goal for you is that this journey is fun and enlightening and exciting and playful and creative. So I hope that message is being translated over to you, that you get that. You get that energy. Committed, but not attached. Very, very powerful. And when people are attached, they then get very upset when something doesn't work out. And guess what? That upset keeps them in stuck mode for as long as that upset lasts. So if you get upset about a result not coming in, you can, but you can do it for like 5 minutes or maybe 10 minutes. And then you got to get complete. You got to take responsibility. You got to see how you contributed to the result not coming in. And when you can do that, that is powerful. That is freedom. Because then you learn. And another thing I want to add here, which is very important, it's never, ever failure. Never. It's only feedback. It's always feedback. Always, always, always feedback. Never failure. Please remember that. You're never failing. You're just getting feedback. And if you can powerfully engage with that feedback, you can then move forward with another lesson. More expansion. Yeah, no longer attached. I like that, Marsha. You can let them go. Fantastic, fantastic. And put more money in your bank account. Wonderful. Committed but not attached. Okay, so we're now going to go through your homework list. We are almost coming to the end of tonight's session. I have been talking a lot tonight. I think I need some water. Give me a moment. Okay, there we go. So, your first step will be, of course, to set up your debt freedom plan. And that template will come to you in the email, which I will send out either tomorrow afternoon or Saturday. Just got to clarify that. So I will message you and let you know when it's on its way to you so that you can check your inbox. And if for some reason you don't receive it, because it does seem like that's been happening, please just let me know and then I can send it again. Now, I love this phrase. If something is important to you, you'll find the time to do it. Okay, so if your financial peace of mind is important to you, then you'll find the time to do the homework. Okay, so setting up your debt freedom plan is point number 1. Following on from our last session and in conjunction with tonight's session, once you have completed your debt freedom plan, that information, as in the totals, because they're not all the details, just the totals. And when I say totals, sorry, I mean the monthly repayments need to then be listed on your spending plan. Okay, so it's no point in having the debt freedom plan without integrating it into your spending plan. Okay, so the debt freedom plan is just where you lay out all the details, but in the actual spending plan document, you'll just put the name of the of who the money is owed to and then the monthly payment. And it will either be the usual monthly payment or it will be an increased monthly payment based on what you worked out in your spending, in your debt freedom plan. Okay. Then also look at setting up what I call the zero-based budgeting. That means to go through all your categories and to see what you can bring to zero or what would be the minimum you could manage on while you bring your focus to debt freedom plan. So you're finding money. And then continue to create your intentions and monitor your results. So you could say we're playing multiple games here. So on the one hand, you are creating your vision, as in your expansion in terms of what you would love to earn in the future and what you're working towards. You're also creating your debt freedom plan and you're also creating your intentions. So all of these things work together. Okay, so you don't have to just work on one of them. You can work on all of them as according to what your goals are. And remember, if something is important to you, you'll find the time to do it. And on that note, what you can also start to set up, we've probably touched on this before, is what I call your financial freedom dates. So this is where you predetermine time on a regular basis so that this doesn't just happen like by default or, when you have a moment. This is intentional. You're bringing your time and your attention to your finances. So you can set up those dates. And then continue to save, and maybe you're ready to take it up to 5 or 7.5% of all that you receive. But whether you're on 3% or 4%, wherever you are, please know it's absolutely fine. The key thing is that you do save. And what I want to also share with you, which I love so much to share and to remind you about, is that when you bring your attention to your finances, it is a form of self-love, self-care. Did you know that? Because I think for most people, it wouldn't occur that way. But imagine that. It's a form of self-care. Because taking care of yourself is pretty important. And keep saving the cash or the IOUs into your piggy bank. So if you're putting cash in every day or every other day, keep going with that. If you're putting IOUs there, well, keep going with that. The idea is to keep being creative and keep continuing to keep the direction and the flow towards saving. And to have fun with your affirmations. Okay. And of course, picking up from the very beginning of the course about your money talk, pay attention to your words and your thoughts. And use the elastic band if needed. Okay, so how is everyone feeling now? How are you feeling? So I would love to invite you to write down in the box right now how you're feeling, what you liked about the session. Did you had another aha moment? So feel free to share about that. Oops. Oh, so while you're writing your feedback and how you're feeling, I want to just share this with you. Very powerful. Everything, and I mean everything you want to achieve begins with a thought. So again, this just highlights how important your thoughts are. So allow yourself the time and the space to daydream, to visualize, and to use your imagination to craft the most amazing scenarios of what you want your life to be. Get rid of the realistic and logical thoughts of what can happen based on your past. Thoughts are made of living, breathing, creative energy that makes everything possible. So use your thoughts wisely. So Luqman, glad to see you feeling great and you having this fantastic financial freedom and filing Fridays. I love that. A useful habit. I love your title. And so Mon is telling everybody to please use that title. So Luqman, great question. How will you pay the IOUs? So think about it like this. It's a form of a debt to yourself. So once the money comes in, because it will, that's when you will start to pay them. And that's when you will get very excited and very satisfied to replace the IOU. Let's just use an example. Say you've got 20 IOUs or even 50 IOUs. Over time, as the money starts to flow, what you'll do is you'll take an IOU out of your container or wherever you're keeping them, and they might say 5 Rand. And you pop 5 Rand into your money box and you tear up that IOU. So it will happen. If you trust and believe it will happen. And that's how you will pay the IOUs, one at a time, bit by bit, as the money flows. And part of this, and this is the commitment that you have. So by creating the IOUs and having the commitment to pay them, together with setting intentions, together with many other things that we're doing as a result of this course, the money will show up. And Lisa, that's also a great question. It's about the how. People often get caught up in this, like you don't know where your income will come from to love debt out of your life. So focus on loving the debt and then trust that the income will come according to your intentions. So for Lisa and for everyone, once you've created your spending plan and you're looking at where your income is now versus where you want it to be, the next step is to identify intentions. What is the sort of work that you want to attract? Who is your client? How many clients do you need? What will they spend with you? So you put these numbers in place. And even though you don't know where it's coming from, you create it as an intention. So if it's more house sitting you're looking for, or more admin work you're looking for, or any particular work you're looking for, instead of feeling like you don't know where it's coming, you create the reality in your words. So it's not here yet, but you affirm, this is what I want. This is what I want. This is what I'm inviting the universe to bring to me. And then what happens? It arrives. And so the not knowing will fall away. And it doesn't matter if you don't know. I mean, like right now, I don't know what Bank Windhoek are going to do with regard to their order. Bank Windhoek, who we've been dealing with for years, has left. And so I don't know. I don't know whether Bank Windhoek will confirm this order. But I'm not going to let the not knowing stop me from holding that they will confirm. And I'm committed but not attached. So what it means is I'm committed to getting that order. I've written in my diary every single day between now and the next 2 weeks. Thank you for the order from Bank Windhoek for 3,000 units. So I haven't written all those words, but I've written down to the effect of that in my diary. So every day I'm seeing that, yes, thank you in advance, Bank Windhoek have confirmed. But they haven't yet. So I'm because when it comes in, I will be grateful, I will be happy. If it doesn't come in, well, then it doesn't come in. And that's it. But I'm not attached. So what I'd like to suggest for you, Lisa, is to even give up the conversation of not knowing. Rather set the intention of what you want. What do you want more of? And then you say to yourself, my income is coming from this place and this place and this place. Even if you don't identify the specific client, but the particular industry that it's going to come from. And out of that, you're going to love debt out of your life. So you can see there's a lot of energy. There's a huge energy component and a huge belief component in all of this. And you can, Marsha, time spent doing paperwork and doing tax, that came up before. We talked about on a previous session, a previous webinar group, we talked about paying yourself for doing your admin work. Now, how'd you like that? And you create it as an IOU for yourself. You might say, okay, well, I'm going to pay myself X for doing my own paperwork. So again, these are just fun strategies to filter money into you. So exactly, Luqman, 5% goes to savings and a portion to IOU. So what you might also then do, just to answer your question there, like the 5% might come from EFTs. So you get an EFT payment into your bank account and 5% gets transferred to a savings account. And the IOUs get fulfilled when people pay you cash. So let's say you get 100 Rand and you've got a group of IOUs that add up, let's say, to 50 Rand. And you might say, okay, I've got 50 Rand worth of IOUs. I'm going to pay 25 Rand towards those IOUs from the 100 Rand. So then you keep the 75 Rand for something else. but you've allocated the cash to the IOU. So it's very light. It's very what's the word for it? I mean, it's so many ways that you will achieve it. But what's great about it is it starts to have you start looking for ways to save. Like what you're starting to see for all of you is you are prioritizing saving. Like it's a priority and it's exciting and it makes a difference. And in fact, I'm just thinking where I'm going to share this with you, but yeah, so probably something I'm going to share later on more fully. But saving, let me put it this way, saving is another way in which you ultimately get to increase your income. So I'll be elaborating more on that in a future session. But it's kind of like the more you save, the more you attract. So it's kind of ironic because so often people don't save and then they're frustrated that they want to attract more and they're not saving and they're actually shooting themselves in the foot. So there you have it. There are many, many reasons and motivations to save. So I want to end off with our final slide tonight. Paradise is a state of mind. How many of you agree with that? How many of you are trying to find paradise? And how many of you realize that paradise is right there in front of you? Yeah, Marsha, you can look at it that way. Therapy swaps. Because then, yeah, you are receiving a treatment for yourself. So paradise is a state of mind. Are you feeling the paradise yet? Are you loving your debt? Are you saving like your life depends on it? Okay, so before we wrap up tonight, final thoughts, final questions. I'm just looking at Roxy's. Your daughter's been playing with money, Rox. Oh my word! Look at those pictures. Paradise. And I say this because so often people are looking for paradise and people are searching for what they're searching for. But it's here already. It's here already. This is it. This is it. As you read in my module 2, if you've read module 2, my opening paragraph is about that. This is it. This is it. Make every day count. So glad you could make it tonight, Naomi. So now we've had both of our Naomis online tonight at the same time. Hence the confusion. Maybe next time when you register, if you don't mind me asking the Naomis, when you register, if you can just put your B or your J into your first name section, so then we'll see it on the screen. Because yeah, as you can see, everybody's name comes up on the screen, but it's tricky not knowing which Naomi it is. But it's wonderful to have you both here. It's wonderful to have all of you here. This has been an amazing session. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm delighted to know you're feeling inspired and you're ready for the next step. You know, that's what it's about, just taking the next step. Thank you, Marna. This course is paradise. Wow. Thank you so much. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I got the most amazing feedback from Cheryl the other day. In fact, I'll quickly share this with you all. In fact, I was gonna share a video last night or this morning, but then I forgot. So last night I was at the Robin Banks event seminar, and I don't know. Well, probably most of you don't know, but Cheryl, who's in our group, she works with Robin Banks, and she said to me when we met, she said to me that she wanted to introduce me to Robin Banks because what she liked about the work I do is that while Robin Banks he's a mind power coach, and his focus is about mind power and mindset and all that, which is very important. What she liked about what I'm talking about and sharing is the practical side, the practical things of the finances. And in an email to me, she actually wrote that the course so far has completely exceeded her expectations. And so last night she introduced me to Robin, and I have got this great vision for some potential collaboration where we can create something powerful to reach more people and touch more lives and make a bigger difference. And so I don't know if some of you know Robin Banks or you've heard of Robin Banks. So I've now got the intention, I'm holding the intention now, that Cheryl will set up a meeting and I can get to have a great conversation with Robin and see what we can create. So here's to making a difference, and as he says, his passion is transforming people's lives. And so I'm listening to this thinking, well, that sounds just like me. So we share that passion. So let's see what happens with that. And again, intention, committed but not attached. So, and I'm sharing this with you just to give you a sense of, how intentions. It's like you never quite know what's around the corner and what opportunity gets presented, and you just play something and keep moving forward. Like a TED show. Exactly. So Carla, your question, saving debt, our 5% savings not to be touched. Okay, so ideally, what you want to do is have your 5% saving that is not touched because you're building up a savings, and when you pay extra on the debt, let's say 100 Rand, that you're sourcing from other income. Self-confessed best friend of Linda. Brilliant. Yeah, that'll be pretty cool. That will be pretty cool. So, and in fact, they had my favorite song, one of my favorite songs. So I'm going to share that video clip. I was recording it last night to share with all of you. See, I was thinking about you all last night while I was at this event, thinking about my team. Thank you, Lukman. Yes, let's hold that intention. And something amazing can come out of us meeting. And yes, he should be honored. Brilliant. You guys are awesome. So, fantastic. Thank you, Marna. Yeah, exactly. That's what's so great about the group like this, that we can share our intentions and hold the intentions for each other and, just keep creating the future because we can and it's powerful. And when the results come in, then we just celebrate even more. So miracle after miracle. We love miracles, don't we? Cool. So, yeah. Any other feedback? Any more final questions before we wrap up? Has he got a millionaire mindset event on the 16th of May? Interesting. Good night, future millionaires. Yes. Naomi, are you not perhaps thinking, you're not thinking of the JT Fox? I know JT Fox has got an event on the 16th of May. Cool. We've had a great session, and yeah, we have come to an end. So thank you very much for being here, and you're welcome to join me tomorrow for round 2. Pretty cool. If you want a refresher tomorrow, 10:30. Let all this sink in. So are you saying it is JT? The JT Fox. Yeah, I did see that on Facebook. Okay, well, nighty night, everyone. I guess we have to say goodbye at some point. Just another day in paradise. Yoo-hoo! Yebo. Absolutely. That's it. Okay then, well, I'm going to say thank you and good night. And here's to debt, freedom, and loving debt going forward. So tomorrow morning when you wake up, you'll share in the Facebook group, I love my debt. Actually, no, maybe not when you wake up. We need to wait until the rest of the group have had their sessions. So maybe tomorrow afternoon, you can all share about how you love your debt. Okay then, good night.